Hey there, YouTube. So this is Derek. I wanted to make a video update. It's like 5 in the afternoon. We've been waking up really late. Recently, I tend to work at night, but I'm excited about two things. I'm also challenged and struggling with two things. So I want to make kind of a update video talking about what those things are. So as an update, if you haven't been following along, I write fiction and nonfiction. I put out a novel last month. It's doing pretty well. It's my first vampire novel. I've been saying for a long time, if you want to write books that sell, write books that have a bigger audience. So vampire books are always pretty big sellers. I'm still working on projects that I mapped out 2 or 3 years ago, which is a disadvantage. A lot of my friends are, they write faster. So if you write what's popular right now, it's going to be easier to be successful right now. So I'm behind on what I should be working on, but I still want to finish up some of those ideas that I had that I never completed. So the vampire novel is doing pretty well. I wanted to put out another techno thriller, which is another thing I plotted a while ago. And then I wanted to work on the next big series that will sell better. So I've learned so much in the last couple of years. I kind of know, the light's really weird all of a sudden. I kind of know what sells. So I'm really excited about some series that sell. And the things that work really well for self-publishing tend to be shorter serial books that kind of end on cliffhangers and longer series. So one of my friends has books that are like 20K words, and she has a series of I think like 10 or 20 episodic books. And that's something people have tried that worked pretty well a few years ago. Hasn't been working as well anymore, but she's doing tremendously well, and some other people are doing really well with shorter books. So the idea is, rather than writing a 100,000 word novel, which mine tend to be really long, and spending 3 or 4 months on it, number one, I need to be focused on creating a writing habit so I can sit down and do the work. Writing faster doesn't mean writing, like improving your word count or writing crap or just getting the words out there. It doesn't necessarily mean all that. Writing faster can just mean, writing 500 words an hour, but sitting down and doing the work consistently. If you're a full-time writer, writing 6 hours a day or 8 hours a day, and getting a few thousand words in a day, you can still get a novel done a month. So the difference between a novel in a month and a novel in a year can just be you remove 90% of the procrastination. Like if you cut out all the Netflix time and you just write more, so it doesn't mean necessarily writing faster, like cramming it all in. It can be the same amount of butt in the chair writing time, but you're just doing it all in 1 month rather than doing it all in 1 year. So one of my huge challenges going forward is just to be writing more books and putting them out faster without going through the months and months of procrastination that most authors go through. So I'm trying to get rid of that and figuring out processes for writing faster. I'm going to be posting a lot of those things on my blog, what kind of software I'm using, what kind of like keyboards or hardware I'm using, tools, applications, anything that can help me to get more work done faster. And I figured out that it's not all about the hardware, it's also to a good extent about your mindset and your enthusiasm and how you feel. So I'm kind of researching all of that stuff. The other exciting thing that I'm interested in is writing books for TV or writing pilots or episodes that go straight to TV. And this wasn't even on my radar, but like at the beginning of the year, someone I had worked with in the past, someone I made a cover for, they got funding to have their books turned into video games and TV shows, and they wanted me to move to New York and be their VP and kind of manage that whole process. So I would have been the guy who took their books and hired the team to turn their books into a creative vision for video games and movies and TV. And I turned it down because I didn't really want to have a full-time job in New York. I really like my freedom. I'm trying to not work so I can focus on writing my own books full-time. But that planted a seed. So then recently, a few weeks ago, at this big conference in Portland I went to, I accidentally sat next to a woman whose job it was. She was kind of a scriptwriter for TV, and she took young adult fantasy and sci-fi and turned it into pilots to pitch to Netflix and YouTube, because, especially in young adult movies, books to movies haven't been performing very well, so now they're going straight to TV. But YouTube and Netflix and Amazon Prime have been putting out really good young adult fiction content for sci-fi and fantasy. So that seemed really kind of fortuitous to have accidentally sat next to this woman in a conference of several thousand people. So now I'm kind of really looking specifically into how that process works. I'm going to the Willamette Writers Conference in Portland in a couple days. Willamette Writers is one of the few writing conferences that I go to because it really has high value stuff in terms of writing and craft. To a large extent, like I'm not that interested in improving my craft, which just means I think a lot of people when they go to writing conferences, they just focus on like how to improve the sentence, like how to improve your word choice or how to improve there's a lot of stuff that you can improve that doesn't actually help you build your audience. It doesn't help you to have content that people respond to. I want to write books that readers love and that sell and that make money. For me, that means writing better quality books. Some people would disagree and they would say better quality books are the ones that don't actually sell. Like, it's not about how much readers enjoy the book. It's about the art or whatever. So I noticed this year there's a whole bunch of stuff at this conference about writing for TV or writing pilots or writing episodes. There's a bunch of TV or movie producers. So I got a table at the conference, but I won't really be sitting there. I want to have some kind of fun activities to get people engaged, but mostly I'll be going to the other presentations because I want to learn how to do this stuff. So I'm going to take a lot of notes. I'm going to put a lot of stuff on my blog, or I'll make a lot of YouTube videos in the next couple of weeks with more specific stuff about what I'm learning, about going from TV to movie. And I always kind of assumed, like, if your book sells a lot, if you self-publish and your book sells lots of copies, then somebody will just approach you and ask for the rights. And that's happened to a lot of my friends who sell really well on Amazon. So I wasn't really worried about any of this stuff because I figured I'll just focus on selling a lot of ebooks, and someone will approach me for the rights. But I've realized this year, like the other example I was talking about, they didn't necessarily perform very well on Amazon. They didn't sell a lot of books on Amazon. They just went out and pitched the book to a VC funder, and they got funding for their book. So I know it's possible now to go straight to TV or movie, even if you don't sell a lot of books. And so I want to learn more about that process. I want to learn specifically, even though I'm not sure that I'm going to traditionally publish my books, I want to learn to get better at pitching. I want to learn to get better at pitching my ideas, because if you can get better at pitching your idea to an agent or a publisher or someone who directs film or TV, if you can get down to that, 5-minute or 1-paragraph blurb that really sells the book, if you can get really good at that, that'll help you writing your blurbs on Amazon. That's also one of the main things I'm doing right now is my books sell okay. Like, I have good enough covers and good enough blurbs that they sell consistently and I earn some money. But blurbs is one of those things where if I get really good at writing ad copy, my advertising will be better. And this is kind of the point where, like, I have enough content. I could be writing more content, but my books could also just be selling better on autopilot if I really focus on making my ads profitable and making my Amazon page convert, which means better description, basically. So if I can learn anything about copywriting or ad writing to make stronger ads and make a stronger landing page for my book to have better conversion, that means I can just spend money on advertising while I'm working on my books, while I'm writing my books. I don't have to do the marketing. You can basically go in every week and spend a couple hours creating new ads, fixing your ad copy. And that's really kind of passive stuff. If you get good at that stuff, that can be selling your books for you. So you can be writing books and you can be like spending a couple hours a week on ads. And that's really all the marketing that you need to do. So I really want to focus more on the blurb writing. I'm okay at it. Most people are really bad. So like my level is good enough that I can really provide a lot of feedback and help people, but it's not good enough that I can fix my own blurbs. It's really difficult to write your own blurbs anyway. So I want to kind of get up to a better level where my blurbs are amazing. I've noticed other people, like, my blurbs are good enough to get in the top 10,000 on Amazon, but I have friends who are in the top 1,000 or top 500. And the difference between those is usually, to a huge extent, it's about the type of book you wrote and how much demand there is for those keywords. So you really have to consider that. But on top of that, having a kick-ass blurb that just really makes them want to read the book. I don't feel, mine are good, but mine aren't amazing. Mine aren't kick-ass. People say like the one click. Like if it's such a good blurb that they're just like, damn, I have to read this right away. I'm just going to buy this book. So that's really where I'm focused on. Writing more, writing faster, finishing more work. I have lots of ideas. I have too many ideas and too many book covers. I know exactly what types of books I want to write that will sell, that I enjoy, that I'm excited about. I just have to get the work done. So that's about creating a writing habit. But then also taking the books that I've written and make sure they're selling, especially a lot of my nonfiction book. I've learned a lot about nonfiction recently, so I'm going to rewrite a lot of my nonfiction, guerrilla publishing specifically. And then hopefully by the end of the year, I'm going to put out, I've never really done general nonfiction. I've always done very specific practical nonfiction. But if I want to take my platform up to another level, I've learned how to use storytelling and write nonfiction books the right way that do things. It's more than just about the information. It's also about getting people to feel, getting people to like and to trust you, getting them to feel empowered and enthusiastic to take action. So I've learned a lot of stuff about nonfiction. I'm going to be revising my nonfiction books and then putting out a couple of general nonfiction books that I can use to build my platform and also to generate income. I know that with nonfiction books, if you're doing them right, you can generally charge more and you can advertise really hard if it's part of your funnel. If your nonfiction books are bringing people back into your email funnels and you have other things that they can buy into, courses or services or products or whatever, you can really advertise hard and spend a lot on advertising because you'll be earning it back later on in your funnel. So those are all the things I'm working on. Writing better blurbs, writing more books. I'm not quite making a full-time living with my books alone right now, but I can be and I probably will be. I do like on and off, I have good months, but I haven't been able to put out books consistently, like every couple months at least. This vampire book I put out was the first book I put out in like a year. So I want to get better about putting out, a new fiction or nonfiction book every few months, which means developing a writing habit. But also I want to get better about selling the work that I already have instead of just going back into my writing cave. It's difficult to focus on the writing if your books aren't selling or if you're not, making money with other things. So that's what I'm working on. If you pay attention over on creativity.com, I don't always make YouTube videos about everything I'm learning. I tend to just make them when I feel comfortable enough to make them. The light's really bad in here. It's weird. Anyway, so I hope this update taught you a few things or maybe helped you to be aware of other things that I'm working on that might help you later on this year. Let me know if you have any questions about any of that or anything else you'd like me to make videos about. Bye-bye.